Hello. Welcome back to my channel. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner, and we are back for another episode of The Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And this is season 6, and this is episode 17, and this is the reunion part 1, extended and uncensored. So this is the Peacock version. So whatever happened on the Bravo version, I have no idea, because I always watch it on the Peacock because you get the cuss words. And if they're going back and forth, it hits a little bit different when you get, them, none of the bleeps. You got to get, you want all of it, right? But this was a decent part 1 for Salt Lake, because I think I mentioned in previous videos, their reunions have never been the greatest. Their season's amazing. The reunions have always been kind of meh. But no, so far so good. What I will say is I am so back and forth on how I feel about some of the women on the cast. Lisa, I was on her side and then I wasn't on her side. I was on her side and then I wasn't on her side, because it was given 1v8. Like, all the women are against her and she's taking them all on. Okay? She is Miss Never Scared. Okay? I was like, oh my gosh, Lisa came ready. Lisa came prepared. Meredith is speaking up a little bit more, but it isn't hidden the way Lisa is. Lisa is, because normally, when Lisa argues, for those who, like, we'll get into the actual reunion, but normally when she argues, it's just a lot of yelling and not a lot of, like, substance or reads. I'm impressed this time. She has some clapbacks for some of the women. And really, unironically, because we kind of knew this, the people that she has the clapbacks for are the people who don't know how to argue. So that is a Whitney and a Heather. Them two have to double team her in order to even get anywhere. And if it's just them two, they're not getting anywhere. Angie has, Lisa's number, but they're a little bit more even match. Bronwyn, I think, is taking it against her. Like, Bronwyn's like, out the way, ISO. Like, that's kind of what I was getting so far when it came to this reunion. Mary will never go all the way there, so we'll never see all that. But Mary do be getting her, and then she just kind of leaves it alone, because she never goes all the way in. But I will say something else, observation-wise. I just want to know what y'all thoughts are, for those who've seen the reunion. It still comes off to me that Lisa and Mary don't really see it for each other for real. I think they're cordial for the show, but I really got it more from Lisa's energy. Lisa came in ready to fight everybody. Like, I think that's what it is. I think because Lisa already came in on 10, ready to fight everybody, she don't see none of them as her friends other than Meredith. Meredith is like the only one, it seems like, that has her strategy, but that's very telling based off how the season went. Anyway, I know I'm kind of divulging everything all at once, because that was like my first reaction when I saw the reunion. I was like, oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. I didn't know this was going to be all about Lisa, this first segment, but I'm not surprised. They always make it about her, so it's not that shocking. But anyway, let's get into what we have here. So it's the reunion. They didn't really show the women getting ready with this reunion, which I kind of like it when you do get to see that, but I kind of understand why, because this is not the most glamorous group of women. I feel like for Miami, they show them getting ready. Beverly Hills, they show them getting ready. I just noticed for this, they didn't really do that. So we start off with Heather. Heather gets on stage first, and then we see, and then in the order, Lisa, then Whitney, then Mary, then Angie, then Bronwyn, and then Meredith. And we know Brittany, she does show up towards the end of this reunion, but she's not going to be of this first part of the reunion because she's a friend of, so she's not going to be on stage the whole time. I am curious to know if she's going to be on the stage for part 2 and 3, because Brittany was kind of a major part of the show this season, even more than she was last season. Now, there's parts where she was kind of quiet, when it came to this reunion stage, but she was involved. She was heavily involved this time. So I'm just curious if that's going to happen, but we'll see. But as all the women are walking onto the stage, I will say this: all the dresses actually look pretty good in motion. I still state my original opinion on the fashions of like how I rate them. I still feel the same way. For the most part, Heather's, I don't know. I have a lot of thoughts about Heather, and I think that's the other reason why I've been going back and forth with Elisa of it all. Because really, I'm not really on the side of Lisa usually. The only time I'm on the side of Lisa is when it's Heather arguing with her, because I don't like Heather. Heather's been getting on my nerves, and really in this reunion, she kind of continued to do it. It just wasn't as bad, but it's still pretty bad. And I'm curious to see if they're going to expose more of Heather's mess, because it's starting to become very evident that Heather is getting on a lot of the women's nerves because she's overproducing. And it's clear that she's doing that. But like, she's so delusional, she doesn't see that she's doing that. I think she really thinks she's the executive producer of this show. And it's kind of annoying. But anyway, so, Andy does the pleasantries and whatnot. And Meredith, he asked Meredith what's her goals for this reunion. And she's like, well, it depends on what the answers are for the outstanding question I have. And so Andy's like, well, what is it? She's like, well, Whitney, you mentioned something during BravoCon, and you said something to me about something, and I'm going to leave the floor to you. So apparently something went down between Whitney and Meredith during BravoCon. And Meredith basically tries to confront Whitney and say that you lied. She's trying to say that Whitney said that she apologized for everything and she retracts everything that she said during the season. And Whitney's denying it. And she's like, no, I stand by everything I said. I came up to you as last stitch effort to try to be friends with you during BravoCon, but that was it. I stand by everything I said. Everything that I said that you did during the season, I believe that you did do that. And Meredith and her are going back and forth like immediately. It already went to 10 at the very beginning. I mean, this is like probably the first 10, 15 minutes of the reunion. It's them two going back and forth. And basically, Meredith has made it known that they're never going to be friends. And Whitney's like, I'm good with that. And honestly, because you're now trying to twist what I said around, I don't want to be friends with you. And then we get some tea in reference to what happened during BravoCon. Because actually, so last time they had a BravoCon, I feel like I did sprinkle those reviews in when it came to like doing my reviews. But this time, I'll be honest with you, BravoCon just didn't seem very interesting. A lot of the content creators that I follow and watch went, and it wasn't the same experience. Actually, for a lot of them, from what I've heard, it wasn't the most pleasant for them. So it made me not really be as invested as I would be. And when I say content creators, I'm talking about the Black content creators. So because it wasn't as interesting for them, it kind of made me not be into caring what happened during BravoCon. Like, I saw some of the highlights, but for me, it just wasn't enough to really talk about it on my channel, for real. Like, I think I sprinkled some of it in my reviews, but not really. But we find out during BravoCon, Whitney was white girl wasted. I mean, white girl wasted. And during the Watch What Happens Live taping that they had, she was so gone that she ended up having to apologize to like Andy and the network, because she was like clear. It was obvious. Like there was no hiding. She was like gone. And so Meredith throws in her face like, well, you probably don't remember the conversation. Like basically she was doing to Whitney what Whitney did to her during the season, but for BravoCon. And I'm just kind of like, wow, we're already starting here. And so that's kind of what happened. And so, and Whitney, because she gets she's not good at arguing, so she gets so excited. So you hear in the background, Mary's like, calm down, take your time, land. Basically, Mary's trying to help this lady land the plane, and she's not landing it very well because Whitney don't know how to argue. She gets so animated and so like this so easily that it just never lands. And so then, yeah, so basically she mentioned something about, you've forgiven other people, but for whatever reason you can't forgive me, because Whitney still really wants to be friends with Meredith. And Meredith is just like, no, like, never. And, Whitney throws out that, Lisa has said some horrible things about you and you're cool with her. And then why did she say that for? Because I basically tagged in Lisa. So Lisa's just like, but you've also said some really messed up things about me too. And this, that, and this. And so that didn't really go anywhere. Andy had to kind of put a pin in it, like, okay, so based off of this, where are you at? And then, Meredith was like, how she always does her thing that she does. And so that's kind of where that goes. And then from there, we go from this to the Lisa segment. So we knew we were starting off with a mess right away, which I'm so thankful, because I was worried about this reunion because historically, like I said, the reunions have not been that great. So let's get into it. So when they're showing the whole Lisa segment and like about her being accused of the different lawsuits and whatnot, and then, her going off and all these things. And basically towards the end of like the Lisa, footage that they're showing to kind of go into the Lisa segment, we see that Heather mentions that Lisa is a risky friend. And so Andy turns to Heather and asks her like, so do you still believe that Lisa is a risky friend? And Heather's like, yes, I do. And she kind of goes into the why. And of course, Lisa's offended, but Lisa got her back right away. Like, honestly, kind of packed her up. She's like, well, if you think I'm a risky friend, you're a snaky friend. You're a snake. And she kind of exposed that this whole thing with the, with Lisa talking about, Todd making out with that other woman and like farting, that was instigated by Heather. Of course it was instigated by Heather. Most of the conflicts on this show is instigated by Heather. Which is why I cannot stand her. But what makes me not be all the way on Lisa's side, because you can't really be all the way on Lisa's side, because she tries to play innocent too. It's just like the delusion of all these women who try to play innocent when they're guilty. But the thing is with Lisa, at least Lisa is, outwardly you could tell Lisa is innocent. Like, what I don't respect and what I don't like about Heather, she does that throw your rock, hide your hand thing completely. Like, way worse than anyone else on this show, but she never gets called out for it. Lisa constantly gets called out for this. Okay? So that's the difference. But Lisa can hold her own, and she'll deny, but it is what it is. With Heather, she tries to pretend she's on your side. She is a snake. She is a snake. And then somehow, some way, they were talking, they mentioned because that comment, Angie got involved. And so now it's Angie and Heather versus Lisa. But I will say this, Lisa is packing them up. She is taking them both on at the same time. And this is when I was getting at like, oh no, it's about to be everybody against Lisa. Because at this point now Lisa's like, who's next? I mean, I ain't gonna hold you. It was given like she's like, who's next? Oh, you okay? You got something to say too? And then, as you know, of course, because Heather knows she's losing, because she can't go one-on-one with anybody, she then tries to call out Lisa for like tag teaming with Meredith all the time. And Meredith's just sitting there minding her own business at this point. Meredith wasn't even doing anything. And Lisa's like, no, I can handle y'all. I can handle you by myself. What are we talking about? I mean, it wasn't said like that, but she might as well would have said it. Like, no, I can handle you by myself. I don't need no help. I was like, I don't love Lisa, but I was loving this energy that she had. I was like, okay, Lisa, okay. She's not right, but I was like, you know, when it's the right person, I'm with it. And because she's going against Heather, I'm totally with it. Because I've been wanting someone to cuss out Heather this whole time on this show. And if anyone could do it, it could be Lisa. So basically, like I wrote in my notes, Lisa cleared Heather. And Heather knew she was losing. And Heather said some type of term that was, it sounded like a Utah term. And I forgot what the term was. Y'all can put in the comments what it was. But this makes, why she do that for? Because Lisa's like, that sounds very Utah of you. And then Heather's like, you're from Utah. She's like, no, I'm not. She's like, I'm not from here. No, I'm not. And she's like, you've lived in Utah for 20 years, but I'm not Utah. I'm not Utah. And they're like, what are you? She's like, I'm a New Yorker. I was like, and honestly, the energy that Lisa was bringing was very New York. It was not Utah at all. So I ain't gonna hold you. She's like, no, I'm a New Yorker. Okay. And I was like, you know what? I was dying, but I understand it. I'm the opposite. I'm from Indiana, but like I claim Chicago. Because I have a Chicago attitude. I don't have an Indiana attitude. Well, there's moments where I'm like, the Indiana's still there. But for the most part, especially if I'm going out of town, Chicago all day. Okay. But yeah, I was cracking up. I was like, oh my gosh. And then Mary chimes in, and Mary's like, you know what? You are delusional. She basically called because the reason why she chimed in because Andy asked Mary, do you think that Lisa's a risky friend? And Mary's like, yes, I think she is. And then Lisa, she gathered herself because she doesn't want to come with that energy to Mary. Because let's be so for real, Lisa knows better. Lisa knows better. That's not the person to do that energy with. And so she got herself together. You could tell she was like fighting it. And she was like, so why do you feel that way? That's kind of how it gave to me. And Mary's like, because you're delusional. Like, you being as delusional as you are makes you a risky friend. And the thing is with Mary, the way she said it, and this is probably why it coming from Mary hits differently than coming from Heather. Heather, which is so weird because both of them are judgmental people, but I feel like if I'm being told, like kind of being, someone's kind of setting the record straight for me, I'd rather it come from Mary than it come from a Heather. Because Heather is a walking contradiction. I don't know why, but for some reason, Mary, in her way of saying it, holds more weight. And also, too, Mary, even in this moment when she said that, it didn't come off in a form of attacking. I feel like that's what it is. With Heather, it's always coming off in the form of attacking. It never comes from a positive space. Even for example, that episode when she was trying to highlight Britney's accolades, it came out like she's highlighting her accolades by tearing all the other women down. Like that in a nutshell is a Heather. Anyway, so then Meredith kind of chimes in a little bit when Mary talked, and then all the women now are like, oh, now you're tag teaming. It's just kind of like, this is the first time that Meredith even said anything, and now they're trying to say they're tag teaming. Even though I feel like I don't know what these women were thinking during this reunion, the rest of them, but like me being in the audience, I'm like, if they're tag teaming, so what? It's 2 versus everyone else. And really, for the most part, Meredith was pretty much just ad-libbing. She wasn't really adding more to the conversation. It still was really Lisa taking everybody on. So it just doesn't make any sense to me. And so somehow this makes it where, okay, that happens later. We're gonna leave that alone. And then, the comment about Lisa. You know how Lisa missed the first episode and everything, and Whitney's like, I don't think that had anything to do with you doing your job. And the women are just kind of like, and she's like, I was doing my job. I was with Ben Affleck. And this is what led to the back and forth in the tag teaming, is because Lisa is still standing on big business about her living a different life. And Meredith was like, well, we all live different lives. We all live different lives here. But the thing is, the way Meredith is saying it is giving like, it's very similar to like how people were offended, the non-melanated were offended by people saying Black Lives Matter, and then they use a counterpart, which was actually kind of like a bigger insult, saying all lives matter. That's what that was given to me, when she's like, well, we all live, like, no, this is not going to be a come together where we all live a different lifestyle. Lisa said that to say, I am here and the rest of you bitches are down here. That is what she was saying, and we all caught that. Like, Meredith, let's stop it. And then this is when everyone was like, oh, see, this is a tag team. But that wasn't really a tag team. It's just kind of like, really, I feel like Meredith was trying to mediate. That's not a tag team, but neither here nor there. But so Whitney is trying to accuse Lisa of getting plastic surgery during that time, and that's what was happening. And I don't know why, but for a reason, it didn't land. I was like, I don't care, Whitney. Whitney really does give like. You know how Mary, I think it was season 1, called Whitney Little Girl. Now that I can't unsee it, and whenever she tries to land a plane and tries to argue and bring something up, I'm just like, go away. I don't even like take her seriously. That Salt, the Sister of Salt was that play was very accurate when it came to Whitney. I don't take anything that she says seriously at all. And honestly, this reunion was very telling. I mean, if the cast needed any type of shakeup, which I kind of don't really think it does, other than maybe a couple of demotions. No one being fired, demotions. I think both Meredith and Whitney could be friends of. They do not need to be full-time. I'm sorry. This reunion was kind of telling when it came to Whitney. He's like, why is she here? And honestly, I kind of felt that way even by Heather. Heather is like, the OGs need to start stepping it up. And those 3 that I mentioned, Meredith, Heather, and Whitney, they need to step it up. They're not doing enough, in my opinion. But anyway, but I put in my notes that, because Lisa had an answer for the plastic surgery thing. And really, she's just kind of like, no, yeah, that's kind of, she was like, no, I was, with them and everything. And so I wrote here that was like, is Lisa versus everybody. And then somehow, some way at this point, it turns from Lisa versus everybody to now it's Bronwyn versus Lisa. This whole entire first part of the reunion was all Lisa. It was Lisa. And so Lisa and Bronwyn are going back and forth. But then this is where the ties change. Bronwyn's kind of the only one that can keep up with Lisa. Like, we're not including Mary because Mary's trying to be the mediator. Same thing with, really, Meredith was trying to be a mediator too, but no one was seeing that, but neither here nor there. So that's kind of what we're seeing here. But Bronwyn was bringing it. And yeah, because we do end up going into another segment here, and we'll talk about that in a little bit. Yeah. Yeah, we'll talk about it in a little bit. So, with Bronwyn and Lisa, they're not friends, and they're not going to ever be friends again. And we kind of got into how they made up on the show, but then Lisa continued to do everything that she said she was going to no longer do as part of that truce. And Bronwyn pretty much exposed her that that's what she's been doing behind the scenes the whole entire time, and that's why they're still not cool. And then also on Lisa's side, Lisa has her blocked and has had her blocked on all social media platforms, and they're not good. But Lisa's trying to play the victim when really is Bronwyn. But Lisa also is trying to call out that Bronwyn's also not innocent, which she's not. But in this case, I'm sorry, Bronwyn got you on this one. You have been constantly, because when we see footage of Lisa talking about Todd at BravoCon, and we saw other footage of her continuing to talk about Todd after the truce. And this is the thing is, this was Lisa's truce. Lisa's the one who initiated the truce of we will not talk about anyone's husbands or children anymore. But yet Lisa's been doing it to Bronwyn constantly since things have transpired. And Bronwyn has basically left Lisa alone, which we have seen that. She has left Lisa alone. Bronwyn's been messy in other areas, but Lisa has not been the thing. She basically left Lisa alone. The most that Bronwyn did was at the very beginning of the season where they were talking about the different lawsuits that she has. We'll get into the lawsuits. So then from there, we kind of go back and forth when it comes to the lawsuits of it all in this segment. We find out that Lisa only has one lawsuit that's pretty much outstanding. The others were dismissed, and there was one that she settled or something like that. And Bronwyn's calling out like, well, the thing is, the things were still true. And Lisa's like, well, you dug up this information. And Bronwyn's like, no, I didn't. It was like, it was right there. Like, I didn't have to dig anything up. What you did was dig things up. And so now they're going back and forth about, we'll talk more. I think that happens a little bit later on when it comes to the leaking, because there's accusations later on in this reunion of Lisa leaking Bronwyn's past. We'll just say past. But yeah, they go back and forth, but Bronwyn was kind of the only one that could pack Lisa up at this point. Angie was trying, but it just didn't. I don't know why, it just didn't land. I feel like Angie's sick of like arguing with Lisa. That's kind of what I'm getting from this is she's sick of this. Lisa is ready to fight everybody, but like I feel like Angie just doesn't want to do it anymore. She doesn't want to go back and forth because you can tell with Angie. I don't know about y'all, but I love Angie. Angie's like one of my favorite cast members on this show. I like her because she really does seem like she's genuinely a nice person. And she is the type where she will not ever start anything with you, but she's going to fight back. And that mouth of hers is lethal. But that's not her default. She doesn't want to do that. She just can do it. And do it very well. To the point where there was a segment, I think, where a little bit later on, where Lisa actually finds some of the things that she says funny. She's like, her mouth is good. So you can tell that Angie and Lisa are not in a place where that they can't make up. It's not that. Lisa actually kind of, in a weird way, you can tell she kind of get a kick out of some of the things that come out of it comes out of Angie's mouth. But back to the Bronwyn and Lisa, they're going back and forth, and then we hear that she's like, it's not my fault that Gout Dick like landed the way it did, and everyone's talking about it. Because, Bronwyn's still like, why do you keep talking about Todd? You can't go back and forth with me, but you bring Todd into this because you can't handle going back and forth with me. And I'm just like, yeah, so that's what I meant. She kind of had her. And then from there, we kind of talk about Lisa and her, that viral confessional look that looked crazy, where Lisa tried something new and it just didn't work. And she explained she still does work with the artist. We were trying a different look. It just didn't work. And really, I don't even know why this got brought up again, because I feel like she talked about this during Watch What Happens Live. I know most people don't watch What Happens Live, but unfortunately, the first couple episodes of Salt Lake, it was in the thing for Peacock, so because they were trying to thrust Watch What Happens Live upon us. And I ended up watching it, and I was like, oh, okay. I was like, so she already explained this, but anyway. And then it goes into Angie and her mouth and how she look shames people. And Angie pretty much calls it out. She's like, I don't start it. I just finish it. And then that's when Lisa kind of then admits that, like, when Angie said that high body count hair thing, she was like, I was trying so hard not to laugh, but I was like, because what comes out of Angie's mouth do be funny. It'd be funny. I'm just like, wait, what? Oh, man. And then we go back to hell again, because somehow, some way, it becomes a back and forth with Heather, because Heather kept chiming in, because she was just constantly looking for a moment with Lisa. And she basically says she doesn't know what she does for work. And I'm just kind of like, she's an entrepreneur. I guess I don't know what Lisa does for work all the way either. But these women, they know her in real life. And considering this cast and some of the people that they had on this show, well, the one person they had on this show, Jen Shaw, someone saying that they don't know what you do for work, I know why Lisa was mad. Because I think Lisa really was trying to be friends with Heather. But Heather was really, I think, playing the long game and just trying to make moments happen. I don't think Heather really, I don't think Heather respects any of these women, because Heather is not really, we don't know who Heather is. I still don't know who that lady is. I feel like I know more of who Lisa is than I know who Heather is, to be honest with you. And I don't even like Lisa like that, but at least I can see that Lisa's really being herself. I don't think this is an act. I think that is Lisa. With Heather, I don't know who she is, because she's just always in someone else's business. And anyway, so she says she doesn't even know what she does for work. And she's like, but you've been to my events and stuff. I'm like, and so they're going back and forth. And then somewhere out of nowhere, the Bellatrons got brought up. I'm like, what? Why is Nikki Bella in this conversation? I gonna hold you. I was like, even though they were going back and forth, I started laughing, because I'm just like, why is Nikki Bella in this? And then she also mentioned, like, because the way Lisa and her going back and forth is saying that in her whole thing of her being so important, she just be name dropping. Like, let me get that name for you. Because then she also mentioned Daniel Radcliffe. I'm just like, wait, what? Isn't that like Harry Potter? I don't know who that guy is. I think that is Harry. I think that's the guy who plays Harry Potter. But I'm just like, why is he in this? And then we see old footage of Heather being at one of her events. And so it doesn't land because it's like you've been to her events supporting her, but you're trying to say you don't know what she does. And it's rich coming from Heather, who was so close and like trying to say she's a down ass bitch when it came to Jen Shaw. So it just never lands when it's Heather saying all this stuff. And so I'm just kind of like, that's really messed up. And honestly, at the end of the day, I think I understand what Lisa does for a living. She's entrepreneur, so she has multiple businesses under like a marketing company. I don't think that's really that hard to figure out what she does. But she was saying, but Heather was saying that to be shady and really to kind of, allude to something else. And we already know when you say something like that, what you're alluding to because of the Jen Shaw of it all. And I'm just like, girl. And this is why I just can't with Heather. Anyway. And then from there, we kind of go back to Angie and how her clapbacks have earned her all these partnerships. But it's funny because her partnerships are kind of like in the similar vein as Lisa's. And they're like the direct competitors. And so it looks like they're copying each other, but it's not that. Because, now Angie has an Arby's deal. And we know that, Lisa has a Wendy's deal. And the only reason why the Arby's deal came about, she's like, I make franchises, not French fries. And so Arby's came and knocking, like, hey, you. Although I did not like Arby's food. I'm sorry, Wendy's food is better. Anyway, but then, and then this, of course, caused them to go back and forth. And Lisa's like, oh, you're copying me. Everyone wants to wear my skin and be me. And then, this is where Angie finally did get her. She's like, you started it with the hair stuff. Like, and then Lisa's like, no, like, and she tried to like deny it. And like, and then everyone pretty much chimed in, is like, no, like, Angie's been known for hair. Like, that is literally her business. That's what she does for a living. And she has been partnering with those people way longer than Lisa has. And so it ended, like, it was a quick ending thing. And by the way, I don't know if you realize this was going to be a long review. Yeah, it's a long review. Buckle up. Anyway, next. So then next we find out that the end of this was like their 100 episode celebration. So they kind of go back and show all the highlights of the show since the inception of the show. And it was dope. It was so cool to see. And then, of course, they asked, like, who do you think has changed the most? Mary says that she has changed the most, which I do kind of agree with that. Another thing did kind of come up when it comes to Mary of like how and why she's showing up now. And she basically explains, like, at the beginning, I didn't think anyone really wanted me around. I felt like I was iced out, minus Meredith. And I love that she gave Meredith her credit. She's like, no, Meredith was kind of the only one that really was riding with me on the show at the beginning. Everyone else kind of just didn't really want me around. I felt that energy. And so I just kind of didn't really try to be friends with anyone. But, as this has progressed, I've slowly started to fall in love with everyone. And now I feel like I'm part of the group. So I'm here. And I love that because there definitely is a change in Mary and and also we're seeing that Mary's being more herself. I feel like she wasn't really being herself she's still being herself. Mary's always been Mary, but like, I feel like we saw the hard exterior version of her. We're now getting more into the vulnerable, in-depth version of Mary, which is making all of us fall in love with Mary, which is why she's like the fan favorite, one of the fan favorites of the show. So yeah. And then what was the other thing I was going to say? One of the other things that really called out to me, because they also talked about like how like, the children have gotten older. And so Lisa kind of goes into a whole entire tangent. And everyone starts kind of rolling their eyes because one thing about Lisa is, oh my gosh, her self-importance level is high. But in all seriousness, I did appreciate her talking about her sons and, seeing them growing up on the show. And then she kind of mentioned some milestones, how like Jack, was driving his first car. And now he's pretty much like an adult going in school, going to college and stuff like that. And so, it's a big deal. And And then I think Andy also asked about, how did the mission go for him? And she's like, he's a man now, and it's wild. And that's one thing I will say about the show that's kind of cool when it comes to a lot of these women. They get to see their kids grow up. It's kind of like their unofficial home video, so that's kind of cool. And then Heather gets emotional about how she would love to talk to the old version of her, because I guess the old version of her was going through hell and we didn't really know it. We still don't know it though, because she's never opened up on the show for real. I feel like Heather thinks she opens up more than she does. She doesn't open up. So like I know, I mean, she said all that stuff, but like it meant nothing to me because I don't really know what she went through other than people criticizing how she looks. But people are still doing that. That hasn't really changed. You're just smaller now. And actually, you have a whole entire new face. That was the other thing that I noticed when they were showing the flashbacks. I was like, who's this bitch over here? Like, I was sorry. But I'm not. Because when you really look back, like, guys, have a recent picture of Heather Gay. Have it. I'm going to put it up right here. And then go to season 1. Who is that hoe? I don't know who that person in season 1 is. I don't know who that is. That's a whole entire new face, new body, new everything. I don't even know if the personality is the same. Doesn't seem like it. Who knows? So that was another thing that kind of called out to me when it came to them talking about the 100 episode thing. But yeah, after that, they went on a break, and then Brittany came out and she was like, oh. And she's like, I'm so happy to be here. And he's like, I know you are. All right. So then they talked briefly. So she had like a little stuffed animal thingy, and it was Jared's voice. I'm like, oh God. I hope in part 2 we don't talk much about Jared, because I don't care. Anyway, moving on. Okay, so then the next segment, there was a lot that happened in this reunion. I didn't realize it. But we talked about the Below Deck crossover thing. And I am curious. I actually might watch Below Deck to see what their version of what happened. I am excited to see that. Because that is one of the things I kind of called out. I was like, what do they think their version of it was? But as they were showing the segment, Mary was killing me when it came to the Britney thing of it all. Mary's still don't see it for Britney. That's okay, but she's still respectable of Britney. But she don't see it for her, and it's kind of funny. And she's just like, oh my God. And she's like, that is embarrassing. That's what she's like saying. Like, that's embarrassing. And it's because like Britney was literally throwing herself at any being with a penis. She was throwing herself at it, just throwing it. And so then we talk about the cucumber thing. And turned out it was Whitney's. I think, did we guess that was going to be Whitney's? Yeah, it was Whitney. So Whitney brought it as a joke at one of like the side things for the cruise, and was going to prank originally Lisa and put in her bag, and like have like the crew open her bag. So they did it on purpose, like as a joke, but there just wasn't enough time, and so that's why it stayed with Whitney. And I'm just like, that's about right. It's like this. And then, like I said, we talk about Britt and her flirting, and Brittany doesn't realize that she's flirting. And it's like, girl, huh? How do you not know you're not flirting? Like, okay, anyway. And then the conversation about Heather and Captain Jason came up. And Heather's trying to say that this is why I can't with Heather. She now is trying to say they hung out a lot to see what the vibes were and nothing was there. They never did fuck around. And it's just kind of like, that's what I meant. I'm like, no, that's not the same thing. And everyone's trying to tell her, girl, that's not the same thing. You should have said y'all hung out. And she's like, yeah, I think what I said was pretty crystal clear. And everyone was like, no, it wasn't. But she's like, yeah, no, if anything would have happened with like myself and Captain Jason, I would have shot it from a mountaintop. And it's like, no, Heather, you were looking for a moment yet again. So you made it seem like it was something that wasn't. And this is why we cannot with you, because you do this crap all the freaking time because you're so thirsty. It's so annoying. Anyway. And then from there, we get into the Bronwyn and Todd rumors. And this leads into... so basically what Bronwyn is insinuating is that someone from the cast that was on the boat leaked it out there and leaked out to the media and made the story grow legs when it came to the rumors of like Bronwyn's past, because of the fact that one of the articles said that she showed up late for the cast trip due to this, and the only people that would have known about the cast trip are the people that are on the show. And so she thinks it was Lisa. Well, she thinks someone did it. She didn't say that. She didn't directly say that she thinks it's Lisa. But she thinks someone did it. And then we see Meredith and Lisa are kind of whispering back and forth a little bit. And they're not even talking about anything that's being said here. I don't even know what they were talking about. Like, they showed what they said, but it was like there was no context of what they're talking about. I think they're just small talking with each other. And of course, because Heather doesn't know anything else but to be bothered, she's like, what are you guys talking about? We saw you whispering about us. What's going on? And Meredith's like, we're not talking about you. We're talking about something totally unrelated to what was being talked about just now. Because Andy also called it out too. And she's like, and then this led to kind of like Meredith and Heather going back and forth a little bit. She's like, oh, you're not going to say anything. You're not going to talk. And it's just like, Meredith, I really hope you were activated for part 2 and 3 this reunion, because I really want you to cuss out Heather. I'm so sick of Heather. I am so sick of Heather. Side note, I probably should have put a disclaimer at the beginning of this whole entire video. If y'all are Heather Gay fans, this is not the review for you, because I am over that Mormon lady. Oh yeah, because they talked about, side note, they talked about Heather and her accomplishments a little bit, and she was just, the way she thinks that Lisa is how she actually is. To me, that's kind of how what was giving to me. She's like, yeah, you know, this show has meant a lot to me, and you know, because when she was talking about how the show did something for her, she was talking about how she like, they mentioned something about the Bad Mormon special or whatever. She's like, yeah, that really meant a lot to me. And it's just like, everything about Heather is just so fake, and I just can't. I can't with her. Anyway. So then, okay, let's kind of get into the last segment, because I feel like this is going to be kind of the last segment that leads into part 2. So then Andy, I think, asked the question, do you think, to Bronwyn, do you think that Lisa's the one who leaked your past? And leaked about your past and stuff. And also Bronwyn did clear some of this up, the past stuff up. She mentioned that the main thing that they dug up was a co-worker stuff. It wasn't her stuff. She just was part of it because it was at the job, which is kind of what I said before. I thought it was probably going to be one of those things at the financial company, and if you were around it, you kind of have to say something type thing. Only reason why I kind of thought that is because I don't know if I ever was on a sidebar about this, but like, I actually had a situation at my job years and years ago where someone got hired in like before everything went through when it came to things, and it was, well, you know what, we're going to tell the story time. I know this is going to make this video longer. I don't care. We're going to talk about it. So at my old job, there was, this is back when I worked in the office, so you could do the math, because I think for those who know, I have been work from home for a long time, even way before the pandemic. I kind of helped pilot it at my old company. But anyway, so we had a situation in our office where they hired someone and their background check and everything was clean. It came back clean. But what's tricky is that stuff takes time. There was always something else going on behind the scenes at the other job that he left. Well, he didn't leave. We found that out. That there were pending litigations of him doing some things that he shouldn't have been doing at his old job that was also a financial industry based job. But since it wasn't there, the charges and all that weren't there, he slid through the cracks and kind of got in, because it wouldn't have showed up on the background check because these were all pending. You know what I mean? Like, nothing became official. There was no warrant or anything yet. Fast forward, because we kind of, all of us, when we saw this person in the office, something about all of us, we didn't like his energy. Something felt off to us about this person. And my coworker and I, we both were just kind of always had a spidey senses about something wasn't right. Like, something's a little funny over here. Anyway, and I'm thankful that it was a very quick thing and he wasn't with our company long enough where we've gotten pulled into it, because that is what could happen, is you can get pulled into the things because of you being in that vicinity of that coworker. And I don't know if that's what happened with Bronwyn, but it seems like that might have been a situation. That's kind of what I was getting at, but I kind of want to finish the story because there was a conclusion, because it was quite crazy to us. So fast forward, in between times of working, we're reading the newspaper. This back when you actually would read the newspaper, so I'm dating myself, so this happened years ago. We see a name in there talking about fraud. Financial fraud at a financial institution, and the name, when I'm reading this, so mind you, okay, let me paint the picture. This person who has these allegations, his name tag is literally across from me in the cubicle, so I can literally see his name tag. And so he's literally across from me. And so I'm reading this, and then I'm looking here, and then I'm reading this, I'm looking here, I was like, and the name is not a common name. It's not a common name. And so I'm just like, and then it kind of gave you an age and the description in like the article. I'm like, wait a minute. Is this you? The only thing that gave me pause where I wasn't sure is because this person has a name that is normally traditionally a female's name, and they're not like LGBTQA plus. It's just they happen to have a name that's traditionally a female's name or a woman's name, but he's a guy, and a cis straight. A cis man, okay? And so I'm just like, well, they say in this article, so they misgendered, in the article, they misgendered them and said that she. And so I was like, well, maybe it's not the same person, but the name was very much the same name and spelled the same too, and I'm just kind of like, come to find out, our hunches, me and the other coworkers' hunch was totally correct. That was him. And the place I worked at, the courthouse was literally, the federal court building was literally across the street. So he went from coming into our office to going across the street, and like abruptly his desk was cleared and everything. I was just like, oh my God. Oh my God. And what was scary about it, because of the type of thing that he was being accused of, I mean, as soon as I kind of had an inkling, I mean, I already didn't leave like my personal stuff with me on me, because you shouldn't. Like, that's the whole thing with, if you work in the financial industry, you're supposed to lock your computer and all that kind of stuff. But like, I was like, I had my purse and all that hidden. I was like, oh no. Because especially when it came to the fraud, I'm like, oh wow, 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 wow. And like, those allegations were crazy. But like, I guess I'm thinking, oh my gosh, maybe that's what Bronwyn was a part of. Even though she wasn't doing it, she was probably like in the vicinity. And that's all it takes. If you're in the vicinity of that kind of thing, you can get pulled into that stuff, and you'll get pulled in all that. Because it when people do that kind of stuff, it implicates, because a lot of the, like, okay, I think I broke it down in my review, but I'm going to break it down again for those who forgot, or didn't see the review. When it comes to those companies, you have, a lot of times you have to have a certification, stuff like that, to do any type of money handling. And the company that I was at, because I was doing like trades and stuff, like, I was certified. And so you can lose those things. And when that's part of it, they can pull anyone and everyone into the case. So I'm thinking that might have been what happened with Bronwyn. So like, she kind of explained that. She was like, that really wasn't my case. And like, so I can't really talk about it because it had nothing to do with me. So I actually believe Bronwyn when she says that. I really think that. And then the other things that she mentioned that was crime-wise was stuff that she did in her early 20s, by evictions and stuff like that. And I'm just kind of like, okay, that's some young people stuff. But I noticed when she was saying all this stuff, Heather had this look of judgment on her. And I'm just like, see, this is why I cannot stand Heather. I cannot stand her. Because I feel like if I was to like speak up about some of the things I did in my past, she'd be looking at me like I was crazy. And I'm just kind of like, just because you haven't been able to live life is not our fault. Okay? Some of us have been outside. I'm sorry. I can't with her. But anyway, moving on. So back to the Bronwyn thinking that Lisa might have leaked it. She's like, leak is a strong word. I don't think she leaked it. I think she's been helping pushing the stories along, like via retweets and stuff like that, and making it gain some traction. And I believe that. I really do think Lisa is doing a lot of this stuff, but I think all housewives do it. It's not just Lisa. But like, yeah, I think she was doing it. And Heather continues to chime in. And I'm just like, okay, now it's Heather versus Lisa yet again, because Heather just wants a moment so bad. And then Lisa and Heather's friendship is kind of being talked about. And I'm just kind of like, oh my God. Because Lisa's just like, I think Lisa honestly seemed like she was blindsided when it came to the Heather of it all. Because Heather really did turn on her crazy. More than I think she thought was going to happen. And I don't think, and also too, I don't think Lisa's innocent by any stretch of the imagination. I think neither of them deserve to be friends with each other, because I don't think either of them are good friends. But I could tolerate Elisa before I would tolerate the Heather. Because I feel like Lisa's the type of friend that you could like hang out and party with. I wouldn't even call her a friend, acquaintance, because if you can't have all me, then we're not friends. We're acquaintances. But you know what I mean? She's the type of acquaintance you could like hang out with and like, have a good time with. You just don't give her any serious tea or anything. But like, Heather wouldn't trust her at all. Anyway, so that starts again with Heather and Lisa. And because they kind of go into the Lisa and Heather going back and forth on like the below deck of it all. And yeah, that's kind of a little bit that. And then Angie states that because I think it came up because they were like, because I think Andy asked the other ladies, do you think that she does this type of thing where she leaks stuff like that out to the media? And of course Heather agrees and thinks that she does. And then Angie also was like, yeah, she does do that. And then Angie was like, not only do I think she does it, I know she does it. And then she had her prop because Angie loves her prop. She has like this cute little scroll, and she's like, yeah, the person who was trolling me, I found out the person who was trolling me's number was the same numbers as Lisa. And that's where the reunion ends for part 1. And so part 2, I think is going to be Angie versus Lisa, but damn, Lisa is getting in all ends. Meredith and like Mary are the only ones that aren't really tagging in. Mary is getting her here and there, but I feel like Mary's just giving her the truth, and that's it. Bronwyn's also giving her the truth. Honestly, I just wish Lisa didn't let Heather and Whitney rattle her, because who are they? I'm sorry. Who are they? But yeah, that does conclude my review. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. And before I do the sign off, Beverly Hills, am I going to review it? I don't know. So little housekeeping update. I will be out of town starting tomorrow, and I won't be back until Sunday. And I'm not doing anything Sunday because it's the Bears game. The Bears are still in the playoffs, going against the Los Angeles Rams, and we are hoping Super Bowl bound. That's go Bears. So I don't really watch football like that, but I cheer for anything and everything Chicago. So yeah, I will not be around. I will probably do the Potomac review. You probably won't see that until Tuesday, realistically, because Monday, I have a date. Starting off the new year right. So yeah, I will probably not have a review. I'm not sure when the review for Beverly Hills will be, but for Potomac, probably not till Tuesday. So it's probably going to be about the same thing when it comes to Beverly Hills, because I have Tuesday off. Not so I can just get them both done and just have them out. And so it'll probably be like Tuesday, Wednesday. So things are going to be delayed because I got things to do. But anyway, that does conclude the video. Please like, comment, subscribe to the channel if you get anything out of the content. It's your girl Sharon, aka the Melanin Nostalgic Runner. I will see you next time. Bye.